Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of One Take because life has no rehearsal. Today, I am so glad to bring an old friend, Nelson Cortez. So, Nelson was our media director at Fulcrum Building in Venezuela many years ago, decades ago. He took the important step of coming into the US. 20 years ago, he became a partner in a company that basically audits people, right? So, it keeps everybody honest, and Nelson has been keeping everybody honest now for the last 20 years. So, Nelson, welcome to One Take. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Um, Tell us a bit.
Th- yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, we are really old friends from FCV. When I start my career, basically in Venezuela, I lived there around 15 years. I built my career in Venezuela in FCV when we have a really good environment because we have a really clear and well-defined process. So I think what's the advantage to work at FCV at the beginning of my career
Yeah.
because we have basically goals, we have a process to follow, and we have a really supportive team to develop my career at that time. You know?
It was a great team, yes.
After yes. After 9 years, I moved to a local agency to launch the third communication company in the country. Was a completely different kind of project because we are the third player in the market. We have a lot of challenge because the big ones had basically everything. We need to start to compete with them, and after basically 4 or 5 years I work on that, we left the company in a really good position. No? So at that point, I we have a family decision to move to US to find a new opportunity. That's was my biggest bit on my life because was basically like a discover America. You know? We moved here basically to try to find opportunities. Hopefully, I have a really good networking that I think is one of the most valuable stuff that we have, the people have, and even the senior people have in the markets. Oh, based on that, I contact and I knew my partner Manuel Reyes at that point, and we was working in doing media auditing for the last 20 years. No, we audited more
Oh,
than $35 billion. At the beginning, we are only two, and now we have a team of 15 person working in our company. So
so tell
that's
me more about, because you had two completely different careers, right? So you worked in advertising and now you work in auditing advertising, which is two completely different things. They're not really advertising. So
yeah.
tell me a bit about, what was your
Are,
decisive moment professionally?
are different, but then it's the same industry. You know, we
Yeah.
I always I will be in I were I was in the number parts in the media department where is the number and the money is handled. No, so before basically I handled the money for the client, buying media, of course, with all the process and the media planning behind and buying, and I know really well how this part is into the agency. And
I know.
now I am in a third party company and checking what the agency doing on that. No, and it's really challenge. So because it's not just to be if the person or the team is honest. That is, I think, it's the minimal part of the process because we assume that must be all the agency. That will be one of the principles. No, you must
Right.
be honest, but we need to understand if they are doing the right job, if the price that they are offered to the client as the best in class or at least is in the range that we expect,
Right.
based on the side that the client side. Also now, every client put more challenge to the agency. They need to achieve some kind of goal, and someone need to check that. So, and that's our field, that we need to see that the agency really uh, achieve the offer that put in the table when they pitch the account with other agencies. No?
So let's talk about that part of the industry, because one of the things that and it's one of my worrying things. Of course, you see these
Mm.
things that change in the industry, and you know, it's like, wow, what happened? So let's just talk about that for a moment, because of course there was no auditing per se as a third party when agencies thrived. Then the agency world kind of like fragmented. Then you had the traditional ad agencies, but then you had people who only did SEO, people who only did influencers, people who only
Yes.
did pay per click, that kind of thing. So tell me about those changes. What is the one change? Because we all saw those changes and we caused a lot of those changes, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of course.
tell me about one of those changes that totally
No,
caught you
at the
unaware.
beginning, like 20 years ago, the TV was basically the king of the media. So most of the money was there. And I probably 80, 70% of the spend was just linear TV, basically, with some other media. But digital at that point was really small. And, but I guess probably the last five, at least the last 5 years ago, digital is the largest part of this the spend that they have the client. And sometimes it's divided. Some part is handled by one agency. The linear digital is in a different kind of unit that we need to collect. And of course, the approach to analyze the stuff is different, because now in TV you have less metric, or less factor driving the price. On digital you have much factors, like targeting, formatting, position, even what's the way that you are buying the stuff. Is programmatic, or is a direct buy, is
Yeah.
a premium inventory, or is ROS inventory. So you have multiple factors that you need to put it on the
But
table to
what
analyze that. No.
was there any change that really caught you unaware? Because we've seen all of that. I mean, like digital has been the primary budget for like 15 years, 20.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah, yeah.
remember I remember when I took over FCBI. So, and that was in 2003. So that part, yeah, sort of like it looks like a change, but honestly, for people like us, it hasn't been that much of a change. It's been kind of an evolution. But was there any part of that change that really took you by surprise?
No, now one of the stuff that is not surprising is more like the evolution of the media, no? Because now the transaction, at the beginning, some people not be part of the transaction. Now, some programmatic buy is everything is basically a automatic processing
Yeah,
behind that, no? And it's a little complex to go in deep on that, because that's the issue. When you have this kind of process, you assume that behind that you have a lot of technology, a lot of software, or a good development to handle this stuff. But then that is a black box. You don't know what
right.
happened inside that, no? And that's is when some client or some people say, "Oh, I'm not sure that really we are receiving all the number are reported from that black box." No, so that's the
Yeah, no,
challenge. So to feel.
the black box part is awful. I think we all suffer through it. I was buying programmatic, I don't know, 10 years ago for for several clients. One of them was Equifax, for example. We launched with programmatic. But let me ask you along the same lines. AI basically, has affected everything. I've used it a lot to analyze huge amounts of numbers. You go in and you say, ha, take these, 50,000 ads we bought and it was programmatic. So we have this, we have that. And please analyze and find the correlation, the highest correlation possible against a CPA, so that we have, oh, yeah, if we have, this color and this offer, they're the highest correlation to my, the action. So I've used it a lot. What about in the auditing world? Have you implemented anything AI? Are you implementing it thoroughly? What are you doing?
No, at this point, our focus primarily we have a really good database, and we work basically with the data came from the agency or from the third party involved in the process to analyze to find the findings or validate some kind of goal that we need to do. We are started exploring using AI, but at this point, my experience with AI probably helped to reduce some process handled or processing the data. But
Right.
then the result or the finding still we needed the senior people in our team to put value on that. No, I think at least for today, I don't know in a week or in a month or even a year, no, will be different. No, but I think it's still we have some kind of value to at this point is just to reduce the timing of the process of processing data or huge volume of data, but
Yeah,
still we need some people with the knowledge about all the implication on the data, all the variables that impact price is you are analyzing price or analyzing some safety or viability or whatever ad verification stuff you need to validate, no, so
no, no, for sure. It needs you know, it needs somebody with a brain to get insights.
mm,
But I would imagine that, I don't know if it hasn't happened yet. It should happen, relatively fast in the world of auditing, that you can implement all sorts of AI bots to just slice through the data because, the fragmentation of the advertising industry has also caused a huge amount of sheer data. You go in, you buy programmatic. If you drop $500,000 in programmatic, you wind up with, I don't know, 100,000 different ads that have elements all over the place. And then to add, if you add to that, oh, I can use influencers, or I'm running PPC at the same time, that kind of thing. It really helps you to slice through the data. So I imagine that,
yeah,
I
yeah, of
cannot
course.
believe that you wouldn't be implementing it like right away, because man, it saves a lot of work.
Yeah, no, and also is a lot of data. No, it's probably more than we are really think that we have there. No, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you also discover new relationships. So when you pour in a whole bunch of data, you as a human, even if you use Excel, which is of course, 50 years old, even if you
no,
use
no,
Excel,
but
it's
also
impossible to look
before
at all the data.
AI like Power BI, Tableau also have some kind of capabilities to go in deep to analyze the data. No, so
Yeah,
of course require more human processing and organizing the stuff, but we have all this stuff in our plate. No, so they like
yeah,
from still we use Excel for some stuff. We use Power BI. We use Tableau, and we are starting to see how we can take more value in AI, focus more in to reduce the processing timing. No, that's I think
exactly. Yeah,
the goal. That
yeah. Power. I haven't used Tableau at all. Not really. I mean, I see the
it,
results, but I
it,
don't know how to use it. But
it's
I've used
very
Power
similar
BI.
is very similar to Power BI. At the beginning, looks more complex, but then it's easier than the other one. Then it's the same as Excel, no, or Symfony or Lotus at some point. So
Yeah. No, no, for sure.
nothing really.
So just in closing, because we are, of course, all people of that age. We're not.
Yeah, yeah,
By the way, that age, we have money. That's something marketers
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
remember. We have money. Young people, they're super attractive as a market and all of that. They don't have any money. So that's
No,
pretty.
and I told you before this conversation that we start working when we have the first computer at the office 30 years ago. Now we have AI. Basically, we pass for all.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I brought the very first computers to McCann Erickson in 1986. So I showed up with my little computers and I had a computer room. And now, of course, we don't. But tell me more. Like, let's say you were talking to one of the CEOs of one of your clients, and that CEO was, like he was going to hire or she was going to hire somebody. What would you tell that person about the value of older people, specifically in advertising and media? What would you say is the number one value of an older worker?
No, particularly in media or in the area I am working, is the experience, the knowledge, is these people have the experience. So they even I told you we start working without computers, so we know all that behind on the process to produce a order to a television or buying post in social media. No, so this kind of stuff is not just the the it's basically to have the experience to live what to do with the new with the new system.
Tool?
No, so you
Yeah,
I lost I lost the word in English. Sorry, that's I tried to find, but in summary, so as senior people or people that have more years working on the media industry have the experience, and even in some point they need to do the stuff they are checking or validate or analyze or buy, so they pass for that in some point of his career, and also in particular in an industry, to our industry survive because we have a networking and we need to have put value on the table to the client and said you don't need, you need to audit for some reason because you need to improve your process, you want to save money, or you want to be sure that the agency is doing the right stuff or not, and how we can improve in the following six cycle of buying, the planning. So how you
right.
can at the end the client want the key, they want to save money, at the end, even if they want to improve the process, even they want to have a better KPI, whatever. But I think at the end the goal is to generate savings at the end. That I
Right.
think that
And older workers.
savings, but with the same quality, because it's easy to generate savings buying less quality, So
Yeah,
you can have a car, you can have Ferrari, or you can have a cheapest car, no.
Subaru.
It's both a car, but it's not the same. So you need
Yeah,
to save money, but keeping the quality of the stuff that you are
right.
buying.
No,
I
no,
think that's
great. So
important.
yeah, and older people, we know faster where all of the bodies are buried. We know exactly what to look for. So it's been great. Thank you very much, Nelson.
No, thank you, thank you,
And now that I know that you're my neighbor up, in Ponce de Leon, we need to have coffee or something. So thank you very
for
much. I
sure.
really appreciate your taking the time. And then, it's been absolutely great reconnecting.
Thank you, Marcelo.
Thank you. I'll see you then.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Take care.
Bye.